Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm joined with Ben. This is not the traditional Notre Dame recruiting video for anybody curious. I'm a Villanova basketball fan. Ben, the co-owner of the channel, big Michigan fan. He's here. I'll let him speak for himself.
Yeah, we've got a big game tonight. Nova, Michigan, 6:29 Central Time. And we didn't think this would happen. Michigan was an 11 seed, barely snuck into the tournament. But now, Sweet 16 matchup is set, so we're just going to break it down a little bit and maybe share why we think our respective teams will win.
Let's start with this. Ben, do you think Michigan will win or do you think Villanova will win?
All right, so I make predictions for a website, and I predicted Villanova would win, but I predicted they wouldn't cover the 5-point spread, meaning that I think it'll be really tight. I think Michigan could win. I'd call it 60-40 Villanova right now.
Okay, I'm leaning more 75-25 Villanova, but Michigan's a real threat. Hunter Dickinson, this is a game that he can destroy Villanova. Villanova's tallest starter is 6'9", Eric Dixon, more of a power forward.
6'8".
6'8", 6'9". I actually met him a few years ago. Great guy. But at the next level, he's not playing center. Not even really a stretch for just traditional power forward. Now, Hunter Dickinson, what is he, 7'1"?
He's
7 foot.
Huge wingspan. This guy, everyone who really knows college basketball knows who Hunter Dickinson is. He's an all Big Ten type player. He's averaged 24 points a game in the tournament, and he's basically the reason why Michigan has won its 2 games.
He's who worries me from a Villanova as a Villanova fan. Eli Brooks, he's been around the block before, has a lot of veteran leadership. He's really the guard that handles things. Mike Smith was in his role last year. 2018, who was it? Yeah, he was on the Warriors now. Xavier Simpson and also Jordan Poole, right? He was on that team.
Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman. Michigan's 2018 team was really good. Villanova's 2018 team was ridiculously good.
That was probably one of the better teams in the 2010s, of course, beyond that Kentucky team. Wisconsin that year also did that.
That's another storyline. Villanova, Michigan rematching in the tournament. Definitely not the same teams they were. Both of them are probably weaker. Michigan for sure weaker. Villanova for sure weaker. Yeah. That's why it's actually an interesting game. I don't think either team is a lock to make the Final Four if they win. I think it's up in the air. Even though, I guess it would be Arizona or Houston.
Yeah,
that's actually
Arizona
tough.
or Houston. And Arizona definitely does not match up well for Villanova either. They have big guys. Creighton really burned Villanova during the season with their 7'1" stud, who I'm now for
Ryan Kalkbrenner. He got hurt actually, tore his PCL in the tournament.
Sophomore, he's going to be really good. Creighton's going to be good in a few years, but regardless, we know Villanova's weaks, but we know their strengths. Incredible guard play. Justin Moore and Colin Gillespie, probably the best point guard shooting guard duo in the country, definitely up there. They play so well together. Colin Gillespie is just a pure March Madness player. He can pass the ball, facilitate, defend. This is his 3rd or 4th March Madness because 2020 there was no March Madness, so I'm trying to think about that. He's a 5th-year guy, though. Unrecruited out of high school. You love these type of kids. Work well in Jay Wright's system. Justin Moore, this is a big tournament for him. Some people think he might bolt to the draft. I actually think he stays one more year. But a good tournament. Dante DiVincenzo, he got in the draft solely off of one game. So you never know what's going to happen. Jermaine Samuels, this is his last hurrah. Demir Crosby-Roundtree, last hurrah. Brandon Slater has a few more years in him. Caleb Daniels probably is one more year, but he's been playing some pretty good basketball. Great defender on the perimeter. Cole Swider's definitely missed right about now. He transferred to Syracuse, had a pretty good year. Guys like Jordan Longino have been getting some more minutes. Trey Patterson, Brian Antoine, Chris Archidiakono. We'll see what happens. But
here's my take on Nova. Brad just listed off the starting 5, and then he was struggling because this is not a deep team at all. They've got no bench really, and that's where Michigan can take advantage. I will say Michigan's bench is not elite. You've got Terrence Williams bringing a ton of energy every game, and then you've got Frankie Collins, who has basically this tournament been the starting point guard because Devontae Jones has been hurt. And Frankie in the season averaged like 10 minutes a game, but this tournament he's averaged 35 minutes a game. He's had 14 points against Colorado State. Didn't turn the ball over too much against Tennessee in huge ball handling role, which is kind of massive. And he's really taken the step forward that Michigan needs because with the way our bench is set, we really didn't have a backup guard until he stepped up today. And that's another thing. Devontae Jones, we think he's going to play tonight. Not 100% sure. His health has been a kind of question mark all year. Got a lot of head injuries. He gets knocked around all the time. But if he's healthy, that makes Michigan a lot more difficult to play against. He's a good veteran guard, senior guy. And then you've got, I'll run down Michigan starters because Brad did Villanova's. You've got Devontae, Eli Brooks, obviously. And then Caleb Houston's the X factor. When he scores 10 or more, Michigan is, I think, like 18-2. When he doesn't score 10 or more, Michigan is terrible. And he had 0 against Tennessee, and Michigan ended up coming up with that win. So if he can find it in him to hit some threes, which is his go-to shot, maybe drive a couple times, make some good plays, play within himself, Michigan's really hard to beat. And then you've got Moussa Diabate and Hunter Dickinson, huge guys, way bigger than anyone Villanova has on the rotation. So that's where Michigan's going to have to win this game with the bigs. I'd say our bigs have a huge advantage over Nova's, but then Nova's guards have a really big advantage over ours. So whoever gets the best in those two matchups probably ends up winning the game for either team.
I definitely agree with the 5-point spread also. This game is close. Two good matchups, two good teams that match up well against each other. Of course, Michigan dominates down low. Villanova dominates on the perimeter. Making shots, getting shots to fall. That's been a real interesting thing. Kentucky, or St. Peter's, just was hitting everything in their first round game against Kentucky. And then a team like Iowa couldn't hit anything against Richmond. Iowa's absolutely the better team. I actually had Iowa in the Final Four, which wasn't the greatest pick in the world, but
the final game.
So people believed in Iowa, and that didn't work out. Going over the other games tonight really quickly, we have Arkansas-Gonzaga. That's about a 10-point line. Ben and I both have Gonzaga winning, I'm assuming. Arizona-Houston, I have Arizona.
I actually switched my pick to Houston for that one. I don't know. Something about Houston this tournament. They're just a good tournament team, and I feel like the way they've been playing has been one of the best. They've been one of the best teams in the country during the tournament, so I got them winning. Who else is playing? Who's the other game? There's one other one.
We're forgetting the last Texas Tech and Duke, the big one,
Best
actually.
game of the night, for sure.
Coach K, will this be his last game? I'm going to go with no. The spread favors Texas Tech by 1.5. I think Duke ultimately loses to Gonzaga on Saturday night, but close game here. Texas Tech had a great ending against Notre Dame in the round of 32. Very well coached team. Chemistry is phenomenal, even though they have 6 or 7 transfers that play. Wild story. All their guys left for Texas, and then Texas Tech took kids from all over the country and put together
a better team. And I got tonight in that game, I actually have Texas Tech. I think it's close, but Texas Tech is a top 10 defense in the country. This tournament's been all about the ACC and the Big 12. Both those conferences have had different kind of tournaments, but both of them have had really good tournaments. The Big 12 just been dominant, and the ACC's been surprisingly good because it was a weak conference this whole year. And I think both these teams could easily win tonight. I just like Texas Tech's experience in the tournament. I don't know. I just don't think this Duke team is quite as good as they need to be to get through this game. And they're pretty young, and they're led by a lot of freshmen. So I don't know. This might be Coach K's last game, and that'll be okay. That'd be a good outcome. They beat Michigan State. They had a good run. So I think even if this is their last game, they should be proud of this tournament. But I don't know. We'll see. It's an exciting one.
The all-freshman formula has definitely proven to not be effective
in the tournament for sure.
You just can't. It just doesn't work. And that goes to credit guys like Jay Wright and Mark Few, and Beeline from Michigan before he left. You got to understand, you need veteran leadership. You need 3, 4, 5-year guys even. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. And I think this is a new era in college basketball. I think Calipari, I think they're moving away from, we'll take you. There have been actually a lot of notable decommits in the basketball scene from schools like Missouri and LSU because these teams, their coaches, of course, there's probably some money behind the scene. But at the same time, I mean, all those schools where you're here for a year and then you're gone. These kids understand. Some of these kids want to win. Some of these kids don't. You saw a guy like Jabari Smith on Auburn. Did he really care if Auburn won the national championship? I don't know. He looked sad. I was watching the Miami Auburn game. He looked sad, but it wasn't a kid like Colin Gillespie. And if Colin Gillespie loses tonight, it would be on the floor. Jabari Smith, there was a lot of mental pressure and stuff. I mean, he's a one and done no matter what. So it's different. College basketball is changing. And yeah, I know this was a Villanova Michigan podcast, but
I'll go back real quick on Brad's point, since it is a Villanova Michigan podcast, and I used to make videos about Michigan basketball. I'll try to return to those videos soon, but Michigan's kind of found that weakness. This is the first year where we've had a bunch of one and done type dudes, 2 5-stars, 4 freshmen in the rotation for most of the year. And honestly, the team was insanely inconsistent for that reason. I think there was not enough veteran leadership to pull the team through during tough games. Michigan had a bunch of bad losses, way too many losses, 14 losses during the course of the season, and played at times without confidence. And I think that has kind of been fixed in the tournament, which is something to look at. Kobe Buffkin, who was one of the freshmen in the rotation, has been completely benched. He's not playing.
Zay Barnes didn't play at all this year.
Zay Barnes doesn't play at all, but the other three freshmen have kind of taken a step up, especially Frankie Collins. I already mentioned this. He's become a better leader over the course of this tournament than he was in the regular season. And I think if, like I said before, Caleb Houston's the X factor. He's a freshman that needs to get going for Michigan to win this game. If he's below 10 points, I almost certainly Michigan's not winning the game. So that's my final words on that. You got any last sentiments?
Let's do a final score prediction. I'm going to go 77-70 Villanova.
So he has Villanova covering spread for all of you bettors out there. And then I got, you know what, just for this, I'm going to go Michigan 78, Villanova 76. I got to go with my team. I don't honestly think that'll happen, but that's going to be my score prediction.
All right, let's do it. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Comment if you have any questions. We will see you in the next one. Peace.